Hey everyone, Cole Turnbull with Coeur d'Alene Advice Givers, where we interview Coeur d'Alene business owners, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders to bring Coeur d'Alene residents the best advice from our community's brightest minds. Today's guest spent 11 years working in the energy drink business. We learned a lot about building a business. He was part of the explosive growth and very in tune with how the owner of Rockstar Energy Drinks created one of the largest privately owned companies in the U.S. He was part of that, from sales and marketing to working with distributors and accounts to sponsoring events and handing out free samples. But he knew this wasn't his long-term answer for the life he wanted to live. He saw that people were beginning to search for healthier options as our country's health is worse than it ever has been, and decided to stop pushing and promoting energy drinks, and it was time to take his knowledge to create his own form of energy drink. With the goal in mind to feel better the older you get, not worse, Ronnie Watson and his good friend Jeremy Deming developed a coffee with hydrolyzed collagen and medicinal mushroom extract and formed Defiant Coffee Co. Please welcome Ronnie Watson. Thanks for coming on, Ronnie.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Hey, we're going to go off course a little bit from coffee and Defiant and learn a little bit about you before we dive into the business and the concept and everything behind it. So do a little rapid fire and have some fun. Where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Post Falls.
Favorite childhood pastime?
I'd say anything outdoors. Just a lot of playing, hanging out with my dad, who was a logger, so I actually enjoyed playing in the woods a lot and trying to help him out. So,
favorite movie?
Sounds weird, but I'd have to say Willow.
Song to get you in the zone?
I'd say don't have a specific song right now. My music choices is kind of off the wall. Anything kind of spiritual, drum, which sounds kind of goofy, but kind of right now really into things that wouldn't traditionally be on the radio, that are a little bit more spiritual and kind of put me in a higher level of thought and focus kind of thing. So,
go-to restaurant?
Texas Roadhouse. Anywhere with steak.
You walk into a bar, what do you order?
Now water.
Favorite season?
It's a hard one. Big wakeboarder, big snowmobiler, so kind of like them all.
Summer and winter.
Summer and winter, yep.
A daily habit or routine that makes your day better?
Waking up early and listening to some of those types of music and a lot of focused on getting my mind right, gratitude, a lot of being thankful for what I have and being aware of what I do have, not just what I'm trying to achieve or get. So a lot of that gratitude in the morning and, of course, my cup of coffee and some of that kind of random weird music and just kind of let my mind go and a lot of movement type stuff, little exercise kind of thing. So just really kind of puts me in the zone and stress relief. So
if you could only have 3 books for the rest of your life, what would they be?
3 books. I would say The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Really enjoy The Urban Monk. Yeah, stumped on a third one.
Okay, we'll call it 2. 2 books for the rest of your life. Favorite aspect of Coeur d'Alene?
The Four Seasons. Obviously loved it. It's just traveled a little bit, and it's just an amazing town. We grew up here and sometimes take it for granted, but the beauty of the area, the nature, outdoors, the lakes, the mountains, the access to, the ski resorts, things we have here are pretty amazing. And also truly believe that, the nature is, a major benefit to our health to be out in nature and not cooped up in the city with the noise, the lights, and all those kind of chronic stresses that we have. To get out in that nature is a pretty big health benefit for sure.
Awesome. All right, now we're going to dive into, Defiant and your background of, how you've got to where you are at today. So you have a background with Rockstar, and I mean, the story is, you were pushing energy drinks for 11 years, and then, something happened, right? And you were always had in mind that you wanted to do your own thing. You kind of want to share, what you learned at Rockstar and everything that kind of built you up to ultimately launch Defiant Coffee Co.
Yeah, for sure. So, as you said, worked for Rockstar Energy Drink for 11 years. Part of their marketing and sales, and real tight with the company when I was living in Las Vegas, and started with them down there and eventually asked to be transferred back home. So just seeing what they created, and being owned by one guy, one of the largest privately owned companies in our country, and the types of marketing and kind of taking something, and these energy drinks and making them, kind of the cool thing. And always wanted to do my own thing. I've always been kind of entrepreneur minded and trying to do, my own thing. So once I kind of, found podcasts and started really listening to these things and getting a little older and realizing that we're not bulletproof and, need to do things to take care of our body and feel good, now with families, keep up with those kids and all of that. It didn't feel right necessarily to be really pushing those. I kind of fell in love with coffee, and I think there's a lot of health benefits with coffee and really wanted to take a company that still was that energy people desire and, but something healthy for them. And also with that kind of edgy, logo and brand name that you could still see on the side of a, freestyle motocross bike or on someone's snowboard and stuff like that, but also promoting that positive, Defiant lifestyle, of health and fitness and all that. And, kind of do my own thing and promoting something that I really believed would help people.
So how do you come up with the concept of Defiant?
That was a lot of following people, said the Urban Monk, just a lot of health and wellness type people. And learning more and more about like adaptogens and herbs that you take and actually go into your body and kind of like get your body back to a homeostasis and balance. If you've got issues here or there, they can go in and kind of, let's say your immune system's overreactive, they can go in and bring it down, or if it's, lacking, they can go in and bring it up. So it kind of balances your body. So just getting into all those, trying to feel better myself, and they've been around for thousands of years, but we're kind of, not so into them in the U.S., and they're definitely gaining in popularity. And now that the science is backing them, I think that helps a lot, that, for people that are skeptical and starting to really see the benefits of things like medicinal mushrooms.
Yeah, so just so our listeners know, Defiant Coffee Co. is not, you aren't just like a standard roaster, where, you're niche, right?
Yep.
And you want to kind of talk about how your coffee's different, than what you're going to go get at, Starbucks or whatnot, right?
So we start with an organic fair trade coffee that we get from Mexico. So I wanted to make sure we had obviously that was organic, fair trade, good practices down there. Then we take that and blend in organic medicinal mushrooms extracts. So these are an extract like powdered form. They're organic certified, grown in China, and get them from a company in Canada. And they use, which in the mushroom game, they can grow these mushrooms on a grain log and then just use the mycelium, which is the little fibers that grow in the ground before a mushroom pops up. Ours are all used from the actual fruiting body of the mushroom, which is then you're not getting anything other than that mushroom. So we take those high quality extracts and then blend them with the coffee. So they're actually blended in there. They add a touch of flavor. They actually add to the flavor of a coffee. Tastes pretty good. It doesn't have a mushroom flavor. If you didn't know they were in there, then you wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is, you're adding collagen, you're adding mushrooms. What is collagen?
Collagen is a protein in our bodies. It's the most abundant protein in our body. We have lots of it when you're young, and it's kind of the cushion in your skin, and keeps the wrinkles away, the hair, skin, nails, joint health. And as we get older, that collagen starts to fade, and you have less and less, and then that's why you see wrinkles and things, just the signs of aging. So supplementing collagen definitely helps rebuild, healthy cells and kind of keep that more youthful appearance.
Yeah, and does that help? I know you're a big wakeboarder and snowboarder kind of guy, broken a lot of bones in your life. Like, is that something that you feel
collagen,
helps
definitely helps kind of lubricate joints and lessen pain and stuff like that for sure.
And then helps you, I know I read somewhere on one of your blogs that you expect that you're gonna feel younger at 48 than you do.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah, I think it's possible, but.
And then mushrooms. So you're adding mushrooms. That's something that was like whoa to me. I'm like, mushrooms and coffee. Why?
Basically, they are very powerful in what they can do. Obviously, there's mushrooms out there that we all know you could eat and die. So, or, psychedelics so obviously they're powerful. So there's going to be mushrooms that have the medicinal properties, that are beneficial for us. And the three that we chose, for Defiant Coffee is cordyceps, chaga, and lion's mane. So cordyceps are an interesting fungus. They basically overtake a insect host and end up growing out of the top of these insects' body or head, and there's that little fungus grown out of there, and it's traditionally called the caterpillar fungus, because you'll see it and it actually looks like a caterpillar with a thing grown out of it, because that is the whole caterpillar that it grew out of. So those are very good at helping your body to increase ATP production, which is the actual energy molecule that we run on. So, that's the start of having energy, and natural energy is increasing your ATP. They've got help with oxygen utilization. So a lot of athletes are into taking cordyceps because of that ATP production. The increased circulation helps with the more blood flow, increases libido. So kind of an athletic tonic for sure.
Nice. And so you kind of, when this thing whole started with Defiant, you were in a transition right in life, and you're searching, healthier ways, priorities change, as we start getting older, you're more or less turned from yourself to your family, right?
Yep.
And so you made some, some lifestyle changes, including you started actually with the ketogenic diet, right? It was kind of how you came up with that. You want to maybe give some how you use the ketogenic diet to ultimately, tinker and play with, and how that might appeal to, the coffee.
Yep. So kind of started, the ketogenic, found out about that, and I just, always dabble with diet, or you're trying to do this or that, and, not sure what to do. You could be in the gym for hours and nothing's happening. And then to come across something that, really is effective at maintaining weight, losing weight, like the ketogenic diet. And, even if you're not strict keto, just understanding that fat is good for us, fat, is needed for our brain. And, there was a big stigma on fat that, the 80s and the low fat thing, but then they replace it with sugar. And, our brains are suffering, and, older people that were, growing up through the 80s and 90s and staying away from fat. So just to learn that. Coffee's a big part of that. I choose the intermittent fasting, where, I give my body a break and not constantly eating. So, you eat in a smaller window during the day from, 12 to 8 at night or so. So breakfast is something that I just don't do anymore. And, so coffee is something I really fell in love with too, at the right before this kind of creation came about. And so that also had a big part of leading to doing the coffee, because I loved coffee. It was kind of my staple in the morning, and, but also wanted something, a special coffee with, a little bit more benefits in it and stuff like that.
Yeah. And so what does your morning coffee look like?
Generally would be Defiant coffee mushroom blend with heavy cream. I always use an organic heavy cream because I do like cream in my coffee. There's no sugar or carbohydrates in it. You're just getting a little fat, energy. MCT oils I will definitely put in there, which again is just a pure form of fat. That MCT oils are a medium chain triglyceride, and basically are turned into ketones and used by your brain the fastest out of all, fatty chains. And so it's more of just a brain energy and giving your brain that fuel that it needs.
Yeah. And so your morning, back in the rapid fire when I asked you, about your daily habit, and that's kind of what you resorted to, waking up early and having, your morning yoga or your meditation, whatever. Can you walk us through, like, okay, Ronnie wakes up at this time, and, because the morning really sets your whole day, right?
Yep.
So can you kind of walk us through step by step of how you would optimize your morning?
An ideal morning, of course, we got a 4-month-old at home, so would be, and these is still ideal. Love hanging out with them, but a lot of times it's, taking over the shift and letting my wife have a break, so it consists of walking around with him, which even when I do that, have found ways to, generally get a little bit of those morning routines done, the working out. I'll go downstairs with him if he's up and start the coffee, make that, and then actually walk around with him doing lunges across the kitchen. Or, he used to be real big where he would relax or calm down in his car seat. So I'd actually take the car seat and do some sort of like curls with it, or hold him in squats, or I'll just hold him and just do all kinds of whatever stretching and just like, getting moving of the day, getting your lymphatic system like, flowing, because it, that's not good to have that stagnant, and so just kind of movement. Even if I've got him, I'm always trying to do some sort of, stretching, moving, type stuff.
Nice. And then you do movement before you have your coffee?
Yeah.
Okay. And then you're also, I know you're big into the nutrition and, putting those whole foods, not the
processed
oils,
yeah,
and foods into your body. What's your suggestion on how people's, nutrition, there's a lot of talk about macros, and there's a lot of different beliefs and stuff out there, but
yeah,
for someone that's followed the ketogenic diet for 3 years, kind of what is your daily
my daily thing is obviously a focus on higher fats for energy. So predominantly animal protein, red meat, steaks, fish. I eat a lot of wild caught like sardines. Are kind of my go-to, and then vegetables. Shouldn't be fearing carbohydrates in any way. Just get them. I choose to get them from high quality vegetables and stuff like that. And of course, they're always covered with a lot of grass-fed butter. So still pretty good. And I think the key is it seems pretty hard that we can't figure out what we should be eating, and I've listened to everything from these, full-on ketogenic is a way, to paleo, to now carnivore is a pretty popular thing where people are just eating ribeyes, and I've dabbled with that, and I think big thing overall to just know and work towards is whole foods. Whether you want to be one extreme or the other within that whole foods thing some things work better for others, and your body type or your genetics, but natural foods, not the box stuff, and don't fear fat. Fat is what is going to give your brain the energy that it needs, so kind of making sure you're getting enough of that.
Yeah, I think there's that, like you were saying, 80s and 90s, there was that whole stigma placed on fat.
Yeah.
And they replaced everything now is low fat. Once you start looking at comparing, on cartons and whatnot of like milk, per se, like the lower the fat content, the higher the sugar content, right? And and that sugar feeds cancer, feeds, they're coming out with all kinds of studies of, Alzheimer's and all kinds of stuff, the keto. And I know, everyone's bodies are different and their backgrounds are different. People process foods totally different ways, but I totally agree, there's no right or wrong way, as long as you're eating, the good, healthy, whole foods, and really limit those processed foods. You guys have a really interesting Defiant Coffee Co. You guys have a really interesting motto: never give in, never give up.
Yeah.
You want to share with us kind of your thought process behind that?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it comes from, kind of wanting more than, the brand image, a little bit edgy, want it to be more of representing a lifestyle, versus just a coffee. Being that, 22 years of wakeboarding, Jeremy Deming, does all my graphic design and web design, and a good friend, partner. He, racing motocross and all this stuff and wakeboarding himself, we're, 38, 40 years old. I mean, you're starting to feel what you thought would never, you'd be bulletproof and you can, slam your knees and do this repetitively over and over again. And, that's a lot of the Defiant thing is continuing to do that, and finding ways to heal that is, happened in the past. And ways to stay healthy, but not quit doing what you're doing and believe that you really can't do it anymore because you're old. It just takes a little more work and stuff.
Yeah. So like whenever times get hard, that war cry, right?
Yeah.
Comes to mind.
Yeah.
What do you learn about yourself from making the decision to start Defiant?
I think I've learned a lot about myself. It's been a pretty awesome journey. It's just beginning. It takes a lot of mindfulness practices and kind of learning yourself and how you mentally deal with things, because of course you want a business to just blow up and chasing these end results or the money or whatever it might be, but then also learning to realize that you have everything that you need in life. And whether or not things blow up or, do or don't, or, I kind of learned to stop chasing things, even though I have a brand new company and, potential to have, blow up and, big things. I still hold back and just, hold my kids, my wife, and realize that it really doesn't matter what happens with these things. They're kind of all irrelevant, and, that whole part in bringing it back has kind of been pretty cool to just, I'm just stoked on the people I meet, at Defiant, and having an icebreaker, that I can reach out to whoever I want, through social media that's into what I'm into, or, influential people and that are doing great things. And it's, of course people love coffee. So you already have that, kind of, similar liking, and so that's been really cool to just be able to kind of meet people and stuff and just enjoy the journey wherever it does go.
Yeah. And so what's been your biggest challenge with doing a startup?
Limited budgets, and just trying to do this whole thing with starting it with a savings and just keep it from, no investors, no loans, and just taking money and rolling it back in and organically growing things, So, I mean, it'd be a lot faster and quicker to get things done if you had $100,000 to just throw at stuff. But I think that's also what buries startup small companies, is that overspending and stuff. So just finding ways strategically to grow a business organically, and
Yeah, which
thing.
you have to be super strategic, right?
Yeah.
Like you're coming in, you have overhead of coffee,
Yep.
and everything else, and you're trying to build, not just local, right? National. Yep. You're on, people buy your coffee on your website and Amazon and whatnot. But how do you navigate that? Like when you started up, how much money did you throw towards, say, hey, like I'm putting this in and I'm just going to keep putting the money back in the business? Or
Yep. So it started with $18,000 is what started the whole thing, and kind of just, it's been a big learning curve of just, I don't really know how I figured certain things out because it was all new. But, from leaving Rockstar, there was a point of throughout the summer where I just was doing the coffee. And then doing wakeboard lessons and some things on the side. So I had a lot of time to focus on it and just, it was just a cramming my head full of knowledge and trying to figure out how to do stuff. I'd never dealt with the FDA, and different things like that, or, getting a trademark name, and trademarking it and things like that. I had no idea, but it's just, it's a lot of that, just kind of like learning to shut off your mind and kind of just open your mind and receive things that, might be kind of signals here and there on how to do something, and just go with the flow and not think too hard about it, and you'd be surprised what happens or what you can create, if you just kind of shut your mind off a little bit and not think so hard about stuff.
So what's been like your go-to resource for figuring those things out?
Podcasts are a big thing. Just different podcasts on people that, it's kind of the in thing now is mindfulness practices, and and finding out that a lot of CEOs and these big people have been doing this kind of stuff for a long time, meditating, yoga, whatever it might be, that's kind of woo-woo type stuff, but they've been doing it, and all these successful people have partaken in that, and it's the cool thing, so it's just kind of a lot of anything I can do. Books that are, I've, books that are written by, monks and things. And like the Urban Monk is a good one, where it's kind of takes those practices, because we can't sit on a hilltop, all day, every day. And of course it'd be a lot easier to be enlightened if you could just sit on a mountaintop and you didn't have bills, you didn't have things. But learning how to, see the light, see life in that kind of perspective, but yet, take it to our, everyday normal life that is chaotic and, got bills to pay and things to deal with,
Yeah. So if you could go back in time, pre-Defiant, what advice would you give yourself today?
I would just tell myself to try and learn more. I think, like I said, the podcast and the amount of information, the social media, the following people, if you choose to follow the right people and things like that, it's amazing amount of information is out there, like, that we can, have access to. But, back 20 years ago or 15 years ago, it took a little more work to like learn something, and maybe you didn't know what you wanted to learn, because it wasn't in front of you. But just start learning and reading, and then you'll kind of figure out that, I like that's super cool, and who knows where that's going to take you, and so I would say just start reading and learning more.
Yeah, you miss those days of going back to, the library and having to look in the encyclopedia, and you're like trying to find an answer, and today it's like the internet was, a world changing, thing
so
happen, right?
Yeah,
and
use
so
that to your advantage in a
fingertips.
positive way, and stay away from the negativity that's on there and stuff, because that is, the stuff people say in social media, and it's just mind blowing, how negative it can be, but learn a lot.
So where do you see Defiant Coffee Co. in 5 or 10 years?
Massive, huge, hopefully. But I got plans to I really want to develop some different coffees. Of course, CBD has some pretty huge health benefits. I'd like to see a CBD coffee, but get into a whole different thing with legalities and stuff of that, and learning that whole thing, because that's all new, and just some other coffees. Cold brew. Initially, it was a cold brew was what I wanted to do, but the logistics of doing a cold brew and having a bottler do it, it's just a whole different scale to even get it started. Where this was something that is a great product and love it, and I was capable of producing this on a fairly low budget, but cold brew is kind of next in the works. The Defiant name, I really want to, with this whole health and wellness and feeling good, keeping up with the kids' journey I'm on, and just kind of trying to feel young. I'd like to use Defiant more as a platform to also promote healthy lifestyle choices, learn stuff myself, whether training techniques, different stuff, and just a whole aspect of human performance, and eventually coach, people, and just kind of, have a group of people following, that we're all kind of feeling that same way, and kind of promoting that and whatnot.
Yeah, more of a lifestyle, right?
Yep.
Than just the coffee.
Yep, for sure.
For sure, it's cool. If you could get one message out to the community about Defiant Coffee Company, what would it be?
One message, I would say, give it a shot. It's definitely a noticeable product to drink versus your normal coffee. The medicinal mushroom extracts, people, sometimes are don't really get that or think, whether or not it works, but it definitely makes you feel good. It's feel good coffee for sure. Definitely notice the benefits.
How, is it something that someone would notice, first time drinking it? Or?
You do. Our collagen is going to be more of a long-term, your daily dosing with some collagen and stuff, but the mushroom extract, it is definitely something that you feel that morning or drinking it. It has immediate effects where you're going to have more, energy that day. That's not the jittery, can't focus type energy you generally get from coffee. When I drink normal coffee, especially before drinking, as much as I do, I really had a hard time focusing, even though I had a ton of energy in my brain, not really physically. You were just kind of couldn't pick one task and kind of jittery and anxiety and whatnot. That doesn't happen when you drink Defiant coffee. You get more of a natural all day energy. Things like the lion's mane in there is actually been shown to increase neurogenesis, so it's a real brain health type mushroom. And when you have more neurogenesis going on, which is the creation of new brain cells, things like anxiety and depression are lowered. So it's really kind of a mellow, I have energy, natural energy type thing, but not a stimulant and kind of that anxiety that can come or jitters. So it's definitely pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate, that's it I have for questions for you. Is there anything else, that maybe I missed that you can think of that would be, beneficial for listeners to know or that you want to share?
No, I think we're good. Other than, locally, we do have it at Pilgrims. It was nice enough to bring it in and been doing pretty well there. Online, we're at defiantcoffee.co. And, yeah. Give it a try.
You guys have a pretty good social media presence as well, right?
Yep, that's Defiant_coffee. So yeah, just trying to build that whole thing in what little time I got. But yeah, check us out there too.
Awesome, Ronnie. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights and story, and we appreciate seeing Defiant grow in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here.